Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Europe to develop its own air defense systems and urged more support from Washington after Russia's latest deadly drone and missile barrage. The detained oil tanker Tagor arrived in the Bay of Douarnenez in western France on Tuesday under the escort of the French Navy.
Spain is hosting one of the major military exercises organized by the EU, which has brought together some 2,500 military personnel.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Europe to develop its own air defense systems on Tuesday and urged more support from Washington after Russia's latest deadly drone and missile barrage. Writing on social media, Zelensky stated that Europe needs its own anti-ballistic defense so that this war can finally be brought to an end, adding that assistance from the United States in supplying missiles for Patriot systems is absolutely necessary. He warned that the large-scale attack was an absolutely clear statement from Russia that if Ukraine is not protected from ballistic strikes, these attacks will continue. The urgent remarks came after a Russian barrage on Ukraine early on Tuesday, killing at least 18 people and injuring 100 others, damaging homes and hitting infrastructure. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha echoed the president, stating the wave of strikes showed Vladimir Putin was running out of military options and calling him a war criminal and loser who has no cards except terror. The Ukrainian Air Force confirmed Russia had launched 73 missiles and 656 drones during the assault, adding that defense teams successfully downed 602 of the drones and 40 of the missiles. An analysis of Air Force data highlighted the massive scale of the aerial campaign, showing Russia launched a record 8,150 long-range drones at Ukraine in May alone. While Kiev successfully intercepted about 90% of all incoming targets last month, officials stressed that the country still struggles to down ballistic missiles without additional Western hardware. The detained oil tanker Tagor arrived in the Bay of Douarnenez in western France on Tuesday under the escort of the French Navy. It was intercepted and seized with the support of the United Kingdom in international waters off the coast of Brittany on Sunday on suspicion of being part of the Russian Shadow Fleet. Sailing under a false Cameroonian flag, the ship's Russian captain initially refused orders to stop, prompting a boarding operation that the Kremlin has described as an act of international piracy. Databases have linked the vessel to the wider shipping network of Iranian oil trader Mohammed Hussein Shamkhani, one of the most prominent figures accused of facilitating both Russian and Iranian oil exports. Sanctioned by the European Union in 2025, Shamkhani, the son of former Iranian National Security Chief Ali Shamkhani, has built a vast network of shipping and logistics companies operating primarily from the United Arab Emirates. Shadow fleet vessels are typically characterized by opaque ownership structures, frequent changes of flag registration, ship-to-ship cargo transfers, and limited insurance coverage. It is the fourth such tanker detained by France since September 2024 and a further result of France's efforts to crack down on vessels suspected of helping Russia evade sanctions imposed following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. According to the European Union, nearly 600 vessels linked to Russia are now subject to sanctions.
With just days left before elections on Sunday, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan is walking a tightrope, balancing his pro-West push with efforts to avoid an escalating clash with Russia. He responded to the Russian-led Eurasian Economic Union's call for an Armenian referendum on the country's pro-Western EU-line path, saying that the moment for such a choice has not yet arrived.
Որ պահին տեղի կունենա այդ հանրաքվեն, սա էլ է շատ էական հարց, համենայն դեպս մինչև այն պահը, երբ Հայաստանը չի դիմել պաշտոնապես Եվրամիությանը, Եվրոպական միությանը անդամագրվելու համար կամ Եվրամիության անդամության տեխնացուի կարգավիճակին շատ մոտ չէ, որևէ հանրաքվե անելը
Armenia's EU membership bid is at the moment theoretical, Pashinyan pointed out. The Armenian premier further said that relations with Russia are in a transformational phase, but that he considered this process positive. Moscow continued its growing economic onslaught of measures and threats by banning imports of almost all fish products from Armenia on Monday, after restricting imports of various Armenian fruits and vegetables, as well as wine. The Kremlin has also threatened to cut critical Russian oil and gas supplies to Armenia.
Israeli threats to strike Hezbollah strongholds in Beirut have been temporarily put on hold following talks between the Lebanese government and the United States, Lebanese MP Hassan Hasbani told Euronews. Yet the former deputy prime minister believes this agreement would be limited in scope.
I don't trust any side to stop anything, because Hezbollah is an Iranian faction on Lebanese territory. The actions are being largely dictated by the war that's ongoing today, and they are effectively a militarized force outside the Lebanese government control on the Eastern Mediterranean, controlled by Iran, and they are at war with Israel.
He stressed the Lebanese state is trying to de-escalate and avert further destruction in Lebanon.
Today, it is about how can the Lebanese government control all of its territory and establish its sovereignty with the help of its supporting countries, and to control the decision on war and peace, so that we can avoid such a situation happening in the future, where militarized factions on Lebanese territory can pull the trigger at any point in time and drag Lebanon into a war with Israel again.
Meanwhile, fighting continues between the Hezbollah and Israel in southern Lebanon.
Spain is currently hosting one of the major military exercises organized by the European Union. Milex 26, a series of maneuvers, has brought together some 2,500 military personnel from 13 countries in Zaragoza to test the European Union's rapid deployment capability in the event of an international crisis. The exercises aim to assess whether the European Union is prepared to mobilize forces in a coordinated manner and act swiftly in emergency situations. The exercises are being conducted at various levels of command, from the planning centers in Brussels to the units deployed on the ground. Spain is leading the European Union battle group participating in the exercises. Among the resources deployed are Leopard tanks, armored vehicles, drones, helicopters, and units specialized in intelligence, electronic warfare, and medical support.
Princess Leonor has completed the basic parachuting course at the Alcantarilla Air Base in Murcia, a key component of her training at the General Academy of the Air and Space. This training is part of the second year of her military education, following her time at the General Army Academy in Zaragoza the previous year. Alongside 50 classmates, the heiress to the throne had been trained to perform jumps in automatic deployment mode. This training is identical to that received by the rest of the Spanish armed forces and the Civil Guard for high-capacity missions, designed to ensure maximum safety and coordination in the air. The images captured in May show rigorous ground training, simulator use, and the final jumps, including a night jump, in full gear. After successfully passing all the tests, the Princess of Asturias now holds the official Parachute Ranger badge, a new milestone on her path to the Supreme Command of the Armed Forces. Kenyan police shot and killed 2 people who were protesting a US-backed plan to establish an Ebola quarantine facility in central Kenya. The police used tear gas and live ammunition at hundreds of protesters gathered near the Laikipia Air Base in Nanyuki, which has been recently used by the US military for Ebola response. Demonstrators marched towards the military base, blocked roads, and burned tires during clashes over government plans to build a 50-bed quarantine facility to house and monitor people exposed to Ebola. The plan stems from a bilateral agreement between Kenyan President William Ruto and the administration of US President Donald Trump. Reports indicate the facility will be used for asymptomatic American citizens, medical missionaries, and other personnel who may have been exposed to the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola. Kenya has not recorded any cases so far, but neighboring Uganda has registered 11 cases, including one death. Protest organizers have accused the US of transferring public health risks to Kenya, arguing the country should not host people potentially exposed to the virus. The project is facing a legal challenge, with High Court Judge Patricia Nyaundi extending a temporary suspension that prevents the government from constructing or operating the facility until at least 23rd of June. Despite the court order, US military aircrafts have continued transporting staff and equipment to the airbase, while President Ruto defended the partnership as part of a broader national preparedness system.
A center.
Artificial intelligence company Anthropic is moving toward going public on Wall Street, announcing that it has submitted a confidential filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for a proposed initial public offering of its common stock. It marks the latest chapter in the meteoric rise of the 5-year-old maker of the Claude chatbot, becoming one of the world's most valuable startups valued at $965 billion. Anthropic now has vaulted ahead of its chief rival ChatGPT maker OpenAI, not only in market value and reported revenue, but also on the path to becoming a publicly traded company. Anthropic was formed in 2021 by ex-OpenAI executives, and now both AI firms are expected to become publicly traded. But both have been losing more money than they make, fueling concerns of an AI bubble. Claude's growing popularity has left OpenAI playing catch-up despite its early lead in making ChatGPT a household name that sparked a commercial AI boom. Anthropic also recently launched its newest AI model called Claude Opus 4.8, boasting that it is even better at coding and other professional work than previous models.